its usual rhythm, cars moving in endless streams, people rushing to their destinations, and the soft buzz of life filling the air. Emily Carter, a 20-year-old college student, had grown used to the pace of city life. She had her small circle of friends, her classes at the University of Denver, and her part-time job at a local bookstore. But what she never expected was how meeting her friend's brother would change her outlook on trust, resilience, and the meaning of family. It all began on a sunny afternoon in early spring. Emily had been invited to her best friend Sarah Johnson's house. They had been inseparable since high school, and though their college schedules kept them busy, they still managed to meet often. Sarah lived in a cozy suburban neighborhood just outside the city, the kind of place where everyone waved at each other and kids rode bikes freely in the streets. When Emily arrived, she noticed someone she hadn't seen before. Tall, broad-shouldered, with calm blue eyes that seemed to take in everything. He was carrying a box out of the garage and setting it carefully on the lawn. Sarah quickly introduced him. "Emily, this is my brother Daniel. He just got back from serving in the Navy," Sarah said, pride evident in her voice. Emily smiled warmly. "Nice to meet you, Daniel. Welcome back." Daniel returned the smile, though it was faint, almost guarded. "Thanks. Nice to meet you too." Emily sensed immediately that Daniel was different. There was a quiet strength in his demeanor, but also something distant, as though part of him was still somewhere far away. She didn't press, though. Over time, she would come to understand that he carried the weight of experiences most people could never imagine. Over the following weeks, Emily found herself at the Johnsons' home more often. Sarah loved having her over, and Daniel was usually around, helping his parents with home repairs or spending time in the garage working on his motorcycle. At first, Emily and Daniel only exchanged polite small talk. But slowly, conversations deepened. One evening, Sarah had gone inside to take a phone call, leaving Emily and Daniel sitting on the porch. The air was cool, and the stars dotted the night sky. "So, what's it like adjusting back to normal life?" Emily asked gently. Daniel was quiet for a moment before responding. "It's different. When you're away, every day is structured. You have a mission, a purpose. Here, everything feels so unplanned. Everyone's moving, but I'm not sure where I fit in yet." Emily nodded thoughtfully. "I can't pretend to know what that feels like. But I think maybe fitting in doesn't mean finding where everyone else is. Maybe it's about carving out a new space for yourself." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time she saw a glimmer of gratitude in his eyes. "You're pretty wise, you know that?" She laughed. "I've been told I'm an old soul." That moment sparked something, a bond not of romance, but of understanding. Over the next few months, Emily became someone Daniel could talk to without judgment. He shared stories, not always in detail, but enough for her to see the courage it had taken for him to serve and the challenges he now faced in returning home. But Daniel's struggles weren't only internal. Adjusting back to civilian life wasn't easy. He had trouble finding steady work, and there were nights he barely slept, pacing the porch until dawn. His parents worried. Sarah tried to cheer him up, but it was Emily who listened. One day, Emily suggested something new. "You love working with your hands. Why not consider helping at the community center? They're always looking for people to guide the younger kids, teach them practical skills. You'd be great at that." Daniel hesitated, but agreed to try. To his surprise, he found fulfillment in mentoring teens who looked up to him. Many of them lacked father figures or role models, and Daniel's steady, patient guidance made a difference. Emily often accompanied him, helping organize activities and keeping things lively. The community center became a place of healing not just for Daniel, but for everyone involved. As months passed, Emily realized how much she admired him, not in a romantic way, but as someone who had faced darkness and still chose to build light for others. He became like the older brother she never had, someone who protected and guided not only his sister Sarah, but Emily as well. Of course, life wasn't without its challenges. One summer evening, the community center faced potential closure due to lack of funding. The kids were devastated, and Daniel felt helpless. But Emily, ever determined, refused to let that happen. She organized a fundraiser, rallying students, neighbors, and local businesses. Sarah helped spread the word, and Daniel put his mechanical skills to use by offering free motorcycle tune-ups as part of the fundraiser. The event brought the community together like never before. On the night of the fundraiser, as laughter and music filled the air, Daniel pulled Emily aside. "I don't think I've said this enough, but thank you. Not just for this, but for being there. For listening, for reminding me that I still have a place here." Emily smiled warmly. "You don't need to thank me. You've given back more than you realize. Sometimes, we just need someone to remind us of our worth." That evening became a turning point. The community center was saved, and Daniel, once unsure of his path, found purpose in continuing to mentor young people. Emily, too, discovered how much of a difference small acts of kindness could make in someone's life. Years later, Emily would look back on those days as some of the most defining moments of her youth. Sarah remained her closest friend, and Daniel became like family, someone she could always count on. He eventually started his own program for veterans adjusting back to civilian life, blending his love of mentorship with his desire to help others who had walked the same path. The bond between them all, Sarah, Daniel, and Emily, was built not on fleeting moments but on trust, resilience, and shared struggles. And Emily understood then what she hadn't before. Sometimes, life brings people into our world not to change the course of romance, but to strengthen the ties of friendship and family. Denver streets kept moving, the world kept spinning, but for Emily, the lesson stayed clear. The brother of her friend wasn't just Sarah's sibling. He was a reminder that family isn't always about blood. It's about who shows up, who listens, and who stays, no matter how hard the road gets. And in that truth, Emily found a sense of belonging that would last